Hey, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. My God, I have had a very long day, but I am so excited to be here with you guys. I see everybody has joined on, or I see there's a lot of you out there that are on. I am super excited to talk about my favorite moments from Ready to Love. As you guys know, this is Crystal Jordan, and this is from Crystal with Love XO. And the beautiful thing about this channel, you guys, I literally was out all day running around, so I am not with, there's no makeup, there's no, we are just roughing it tonight, but it's all good because this is how this channel started. For those of you that are watching, please, please, please put an X on the chat so I know that you can hear me. But those of you that have been here for a while know that this channel actually started. I've always, interviewed people, but the channel really took off because of interviews I did for Ready to Love. So when I saw that Ready to Love was celebrating its 100th episode, I thought, you know what? I have to make sure that I kind of talk about my favorite moments from Ready to Love because that's really how this started. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Avita. Um, so I knew that we had to talk about Crystal's top five. There's so many. I actually really have enjoyed interviewing people from Ready to Love, especially the ladies. They're some of my favorites. Hey, Ebony. The ladies are my favorites because I feel like they really are a part of why, a part of my inspiration to write the new book, Dear Alpha Female, because so many of the women that we see on Ready to Love are amazing, strong women. They're women that have their careers together. They probably have had, some of them have been married before. Most of them have definitely, been in love before and it didn't work out. And this show offers them another opportunity for that, right? So I think it's very relatable for me. As you guys know, if you watch this channel and heard my story, I am on my second marriage, and that is something that I never was looking forward to. You get married to think that you're going to be married forever, but life happens. And it was great for me to be able to watch this show and see that, there is another chance. You're never out of chances for love. There's always the opportunity for love to happen to you again and for you to have that happy ending. And this show is a part of that. So when I started this show, you guys, we're going to go back in time and watch some of these clips. And I'm telling y'all, you're going to see the difference between the way I look and the setup. I started at Rolling Out. I would do interviews at Rolling Out. It was before COVID. It actually was just 3 years ago, but it seems like it was so much longer than that, because it looks totally, totally different. Ebony, you said you got your book on Saturday. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to hear feedback. And we're going to start a series titled Dear Alpha Female. So if you guys have not gotten your copy of the book, make sure that you do that. Put that here so you guys can see it. This is the book, Dear Alpha Female. And again, inspired by so many of the amazing women on Ready to Love, especially some of the ladies that I've had an opportunity to interview, and really hear their stories and talk to them. It's been amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get in. I pulled 5 clips because, like I said, I was running around all day today, but I pulled 5 clips, and I want to make sure that you guys know this is a celebration of Ready to Love, the 100th episode. If you guys watched on Friday, OWN did their own, back through the history of Ready to Love. But if you look on my page, I have interviews from every single season with most of the cast members, and there have been some memorable moments. My top moment, I did not see mentioned on OWN last night, and I'm not sure. I'm not surprised they didn't want to mention it, because it was, one of those things they probably would not want to talk about. But we're going to talk about it tonight because I think it was crazy. But I would say my first memory, we're going to talk about the very first couple. When Ready to Love started, they started here in Atlanta. And it was cool because I got a chance to actually interact with the cast. They came by the Rolling Out studios, and I got a chance to really kind of get to know some of them. A lot of them reached out to me. There was drama going on. If you guys remember, there was like Aaron and Melinda and all these different characters because nobody had seen the show before. And so we didn't really know what to expect. That first season was off the chain. It probably was the favorite season of most people just because it was new. And I don't think people had a chance to kind of try the strategies because they didn't really know what to expect. And so the couple that came out of this show, Mike and Shay, were so adorable. And I remember I was so excited when they came by rolling out. And this is a clip from that interview. You guys let me know if you remember this clip from Reality Check with Mike and Shay. Hey, this is your girl, Christal Jordan with Rolling Out, and this is a Rolling Out exclusive. I'm excited to have the actual final couple from OWN's hit dating reality show that has everybody talking, Ready to Love. Welcome to Rolling Out today, hey. Shay and Mike.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Guys. See a little hand holding happening?
I know, we can't just...
Okay, so that was cute. The clips are going to be short, but you guys let me know what you think of Mike and Shay. First of all, I have had Mike back several times. Mike and I are good friends. Shay is actually like one of my best friends, and I'm so excited about a business venture she and I are doing. They were so cute, Marriott. I agree. They were super cute. And it just didn't work. They're both great people. I'm not going to lie. I was rooting for them because they really looked good together. And I know that what I can say from talking to both of them and, knowing them personally outside of the show is that they really were authentic. And I think, anybody that knows Shay, I think you guys got a chance to get to know her on the show. Shay is very authentic. She's very genuine, right? And she is not going to fake it for the show. She is one of those females that is definitely going to let you know how she feels. And she's not cool with doing something just for the look. Right. And so, she's extremely successful outside of the show. And that's another thing. She did not necessarily need to be on reality TV. There are a lot of people that get on the show and they're looking to like create an opportunity to get their star off with reality TV. And with Shay, that definitely was not the case. She has a very successful printing company here in Atlanta that is extremely successful, over 6,000 square feet. They do things for celebrities and huge corporations here. And she's, got her own thing going on to where the show, I believe they taped or filmed the show, a few episodes in her store, but you didn't get a chance to see most of that. But if you guys look up IDAP Solutions, that's Shay's company. And like I said, she's very successful. Shay to Touch on Instagram, so you can keep up with her if you're not already. But I think people really fell in love with them as a couple and were really rooting for them. We were rooting for them, right? But it didn't work out. Kathy said Mike was on Saints and Sinners. He's been on so much. Branier said, the KW series, he just did a movie with Country Wayne that there was a premiere for here. I'm sure you ladies are following Mike on Instagram because Mike, is not too hard on the eyes. He's a very nice looking guy, but he also was just a very good guy. He's also a very genuine guy, and just a good dude. So it is rare that a good dude comes looking like that, but it did happen with him. He's a good guy. He just, he and Shay weren't the match, but I think it was a great start to the show. And like I said, people fell in love with them. I had interviewed all the cast up until that point, and they were the only people that actually came together. So that was a really cool thing. And you guys see that way the background looked and the way we were doing the videos then was so different. But that was it. That was the first season of Ready to Love here in Atlanta. And the second season came back to Atlanta, and the second season actually blew up. Now, these videos from the second season, I actually got most of the viewers, right? Most of the viewers for this YouTube channel were born during that time, because some of these videos, you guys go back and look through this channel. Some of those videos had over 200,000 views because there was so much drama going on. Actually, this couple, this little triangle that happened, if you guys remember, they actually alluded to it a little bit on Friday, was the Mike, Tondi, and Reva triangle. And I actually had all three of them came and sat down, did interviews. So that definitely had to be in my pick for this season. I can't wait till you guys get to number one, because I can't wait to talk about that one, because that one is crazy. But we're going to start with Tondi. I interviewed Tondi, Reva, and Mario, all of them. I did Tondi first, and then Reva and Mario. And if you guys remember how this kind of love triangle started, Mario and Tondi actually left together, and they were supposed to be together. Now, Tondi and Reva Mario had been attracted to Reva, but there wasn't much that they didn't have much interaction on the show. And so Reva got sent home. So Mario and Tandi were together. Now, obviously Mario was still interacting with Reva. And later, after they left the show, Mario and Tandi broke up and Mario doubled back and went back to Reva. And the two of them are together to this day and they're very, very cute. It all worked out. Tandi is very happy. Tandi is on. I think she's had a couple of different boyfriends or, doing her thing. But this is a clip from Tandi explaining that she had receipts that not only were she and Reva cool, but she felt like they were actually friends. And that's what caused the big scandal because people were like, oh my God, how could Reva go back and go out with Mario after she and Tandi were friends? So it was a big thing. It got the channel popping because we had all of them out for interviews. You guys are going to notice my hair has totally been affected by the humidity in this clip, but that's okay. We're going to get into it. This is a conversation with Tandi about the fact that she has receipts that she and Reva were friends.
Okay.
But I didn't say she was my damn BFF. I didn't say that. You're not my BFF. But the interaction that we have requires boundaries. Okay? So me personally, and my mother always says, she said, Tandi, I didn't raise everybody. So you're going to get highly disappointed. You keep thinking everybody's going to move like how you move and think like how you think. And,
so that was Tandi's version, right? So Tandi said that she and Reva had conversations. She actually said later on in that clip that Reva had reached out to her about their daughters hanging out together. They were doing like a Mother's Day brunch together. It looked a little shady, right? So Reva came by and Reva said that, they had friends in common. It was like a mutual group, but they were not intimate friends and that, she didn't see her that way. I really don't know who was telling the truth, but what I do know is Mario and Reva are still together. So after all this happened, a lot of people felt like Tamron Rob says Mario was not cool. A lot of people felt like that. A lot of people felt that Mario was wrong. They were getting a lot of negative publicity online. People were basically saying he was trifling. And so Mario reached out to me and he asked, could he come by the show and could he talk and kind of share his story? And so of course I told him yes. It's always important for me for this to be a safe space for both women and men. And so I definitely wanted to give him an opportunity to come by. So this next clip is Mario and he is explaining what happened because at the reunion, he was sitting next to Tandi. They explained how everything went. And then Mario actually got up and moved over and sat next to Reva and was like, we're together now. And they kissed. It was scandalous. It was a whole scandal situation happening. It was crazy. But here's a clip from that. And you guys let me know what you think, because I don't know if those of you that are watching now were watching back then, but this was all the internet was talking about, this Mario, Reva, and Tandi scandal. Check out this clip of Mario and I having a conversation.
The stuff that Tandi and I was going through, and I had no idea how that was going to play out.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
But I will say, I feel horrible about that.
Right.
Because that's not my character.
Right.
It is not.
Did you feel pressure to not tell her what was going on with you and Reva before?
Well, I felt a little pressure,
Okay. All right. So I'm not going to lie, guys. Mario came by and we had that conversation and I honestly believe he felt bad about it. Right. So Dee said Mario should not have allowed production to make him do such an evil thing. I agree that he should not have allowed production to manipulate him into doing that at the reunion, because it did look really bad and it could have been hurtful to Tandi. Tandi is, very personable and, has this charismatic personality, but I cannot imagine being in her situation. I'm sure her feelings were hurt, because anyone's feelings would have been hurt if someone, you don't even know that he's gone back to the girl and they're in a full relationship. Not only were they in a relationship, but they had been on vacation together. Like it was a whole scandal. So anyway, I got to be a part of that. I was interviewing them. Those videos went viral. You can go back on my page and look at those videos. There was also, and I didn't pick this for tonight, but I probably should do like a part 2 of these because these interviews are hilarious to me. It's like I said, only been 3 years, but it looks totally different when you look back at what was going on. So the next season here in Atlanta, because we did another season here in Atlanta, and it was Alex, um, oh my gosh, Divine and London, right? Alex, Divine, and London. And so again, I had London and Divine both came on. If you guys remember, um, there was this idea that the girls were like going back and forth, and Alexis was like, I want all the smoke. I'm ready to drag her. It was just a lot. A lot went on, and they all came by. Divine didn't come, but I talked to her later. Oh, my sign fell. But yes, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I have all those videos. I'm telling you guys, I have been here with Ready to Love from the very beginning, and it has been good the entire time. Those episodes back then, I think, again, because people were new, we didn't know what to expect. People really, really, really were invested in the show. And I think that people have become a little bit disenchanted with the way the process is, because it's not necessarily the production. I'm going to say this, guy, and you guys let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I don't think it's production as much as it is the people that are signing up for the show. Because at this point, people are signing up for the show because it's an opportunity, right? I just did the interview with Jonique, and a lot of people love that interview. But Jonique was very open and very honest about the fact that she wasn't necessarily looking for a husband. This was an opportunity for her, right? And I think when you look back at the earlier episodes, right, especially that first and second season, people did not know what to expect. And so they actually came with an open heart and open mind. And now I'm not saying everybody was on the up and up, because there's always going to be people looking for an opportunity, but it just felt a lot more genuine with the people. I think production can't necessarily dictate the people. Now, I think the people come because it's an opportunity, and then also production reaches out and tries to cast people. And I think so you get the result of that is a lot of people that are not really open for love. But one of the things I love about this show that I think is true is that people are always going to be hopeful. And my interview with Tommy actually is coming up later tonight. I just talked to nephew Tommy about this 100th episode and where the show is. And I think there's always going to be this hopefulness when it comes to love. And I honestly am a person that believes in it. I've seen, Shatava from the first season, who I'm also very good friends with. She got married to an amazing man that loves her so much. If you guys remember, she and Shay both were dating Mike, and there was a little bit of controversy about the fact that Shatava actually excused herself when she saw that Mike and Shay had a bigger connection on that first season. On the second season, Courtney, that first season, Courtney Larissa, she actually got married, and her wedding was on Say Yes to the Dress, and she's happily married. There actually was another couple from the first season that were both eliminated pretty early, and they also are married. So I think there's always the option for things to work if you come in with an authentic spirit. So I think it really just kind of depends on the people, right? And authentic will find authentic, and then all that player stuff will find each other as well. So the next clip that I have was from Houston, because, I could definitely have stayed in Atlanta because my favorite seasons happened here in Atlanta. But Houston was a little off the chain. That first season in Houston was a little off the chain. You guys know the first season they were all at a resort, right? Actually, that's going to be my last clip. Let's go to the second season in Houston. So the second season in Houston, there was a lot going on with David, with Liz, and Jason. And Jason and Liz actually made it to the very end. We had them on, and I think it was to me, I did not really feel like they were going to make it, because I felt like Liz was needing something very different than Jason. I think she's at a different place in her life. But I enjoyed this interview with the two of them. And so that is my fourth clip for us to check out today. It is Liz and Jason from Houston, Ready to Love. Now, they made it off the show, and I think they actually dated for quite a while, for quite a few months afterwards before they called it quits. Let's check out this clip. You talked about depression and just dealing with things. And there's a scene in the man cave. That's one of my favorite parts about this show, because I think the show obviously. Okay, so that in that clip, Jason, there was a scene, and I think they showed it in the 100th episode, where a lot of times, in the man cave, when Tommy talks to the guys, that's probably one of the favorite parts about Ready to Love are those scenes in the man cave where you actually see the guys get vulnerable. A lot of times women, when you're dating a man, you don't actually get to see them be vulnerable. But those scenes when we're able to see that men actually interacting with each other and talking to Tommy, you get a chance to see another side of them. And I will never forget that this particular scene, like I said, I believe they showed it in the 100th episode where Jason started crying because he said that he was hearing women saying so many good things about him, right? So he was a favorite. He was tall, good looking guy, seemed very genuine. I believe he was a teacher. And he was saying that, I've got these two women that are vying for me and they're saying nice things, and I'm not used to hearing positive things said about me. I'm not used to having those, positivity poured back into me. And I remember thinking how sad that is, right? Because you saw him like be moved to emotion because of that. He talked about it a little bit in our interview, and Liz was very, very nurturing to him. You could tell she was really, really, really excited about the possibility of their relationship. I was rooting for them also, Ebony. I really was. I was hoping that they would have been able to make it work. But like I said, deep down inside, I just felt like what she wanted, she was just a little bit more mature. I think that Jason had a little bit more of discovery with himself. And I'm going to say this, I have had an opportunity to interview so many people about love and relationships. And I feel like women and men mature differently, right? I think that it's very important for a man to know who he is and be at a place of self-assuredness, self-confidence. His self-confidence needs to be in a certain place in order for him to be the man that he needs to be for that woman. And I just feel like Jason was still kind of finding himself, even for the fact of him saying that, it moved him to emotion because he had not heard women speak about him in those ways, and that's not saying that he was immature because of that, but I just feel like he had a little bit further to go on his journey before he would be ready to actually step into a leadership role as a husband. At least for someone like Liz, because Liz was a little bit more cultured, a little bit more mature. She had been through, she'd had a very successful life. I believe she was an artist. She was doing a lot of gospel music, and she was very specific about what she wanted. She talks about being celibate and really, really focusing on God sending her the right man. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like when a woman is doing that and she's being very intentional, then she needs a man who's ready already, not one who's getting ready, but who's ready to step in and actually be there. Jay says, I felt they were a mismatch. I think Liz really wanted David until he went left. Jason wanted Kyra, but didn't like her indecision. I agree with that. I mean, I think Kyra was probably more on Jason's maturity level. There was also a clip shown on the digital exclusives that OWN put out with David, because David, that whole situation went horribly. David was very good looking. I interviewed him as well. And if you guys want to see any of these interviews, you can go and go through the channel and under live videos, and you'll be able to see a lot of these interactions with some of these cast members. But David's interview was interesting. I think David is a man that had been hurt before. He's very good looking. He also had the same Christian values that Liz had, but there was so much hurt that came through with him. And I want to say something else, because for those of you that don't know, prior to doing these interviews for Rolling Out and for working in this capacity, I was an entertainment publicist and have been for years. And hold on really quickly. The texting is going off. It's going off. But yes, so I was an entertainment publicist. So my job was to get people ready to be on reality TV, right? So I would talk to them and kind of coerce them through doing interviews and things like this. And one of the big themes that comes up in Ready to Love every single season is people saying that production made them look a certain way, right? Production made them look a certain way. So what I'm here to say is that production cannot necessarily make you look any different than you are. Now, if you guys watched the interview with Jonique, she shared that we didn't really get a chance to see much of her personality, right? And I agree with that. You don't always get to see a person's personality. However, However, if we see your personality, the camera cannot create things with you. It can only use what you've given. And so um, a lot of people suggest that what they see is not how they really think they are. But what happens is when someone gets a snapshot of you, they're able to make an assumption that that's how you really are. And that may not be how you really are, but what it is it's an extreme version, right? And so I always would tell clients and I would tell people that are watching, you have to remember that yes, it is an edited version, but the camera is only using what the cast members have given them, right? So if in every scene we see you being very argumentative, or we see you being, dismissive to other people, I think people see that this season with Blake. People feel like, when you watch the scenes with Blake, he seems very, very dismissive towards other people. I'm sure, if I get a chance to interview Blake, he's going to say that's not him. And that may not be how he intends to come across, but I believe the camera catches us. When we don't, in a way that we don't expect to be caught, but it's still the truth. It's kind of like when you gain weight as a woman and you look at yourself on camera and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I look like this. Yeah, the camera probably adds a few pounds, but at the end of the day, it's still you. Trust me. I look at pictures of myself. In fact, the first 2 seasons when I was doing those interviews and we would have full body interviews, I mean, the comments were crazy on me. People were like, oh my God, she's a BBW. She looks overweight. She's this, she's that. And, some of that stuff may have hurt my feelings, but the reality was that's how I showed up. And that was the impression that people got. Now, whether I think I'm overweight or not, or whatever that situation is, that's how I'm showing up. And that's the real me. You can't look at a version of yourself and say, that's not me. No, that's how you acted. And we've seen people, act out. We've seen people be violent towards other people. And no, that may not be, how you are all the time. But at some point in time, those were your actions. And I think that a lot of times what happens is people don't like the way they see themselves. They don't like how they show up. So anyway, that is my perspective on that. I just wanted to share that part because as the viewer, we constantly hear, people saying, I'm not really like that. They just made me look a certain way. I don't think production can make you look a certain way. Now they can take away from, but if we get a chance to see you over and over and over again, no, absolutely not. Demario, the interview that I did with Demario a couple of weeks ago, Demario was, he came off as extremely defensive. And even though he was saying it wasn't him, how he showed up on the show was how he showed up here. He had a problem with Jeffrey kissing another person, and he still had the problem when he came here. So it's like, it's not production. It's just, that's how you showed up. Now, if you don't feel like production gave people enough chance to see your personality, that's one thing. But if you're saying that what they had wasn't true, that's kind of difficult to believe. And so one of my main things was definitely working with people on kind of making sure that you're showing up the way you want to be received, right? All right, so now we are at my number one wow moment on Ready to Love. And like I said, they did not show you guys this on the 100th episode special, but to me, this was the biggest moment on Ready to Love. This was the biggest surprise. This was the biggest shocker to me on Ready to Love. If you know what this clip is, please put it in the chat. This came from the season in Houston during COVID. You guys know during 2020, they could not, you could not be on the show and go and come. So they put all the cast at a resort in Houston. And this moment to me is the number one highlight, the number one oops, what the hell moment from Ready to Love.
So I wasn't trying to sleep with anyone pregnant.
Right.
Oh.
So wait a minute, you said you were pregnant?
Yeah, you didn't know I was pregnant?
No, we didn't know. We didn't know. That probably was a spoiler alert that we weren't supposed to know. But
well, everyone else out there, that's why I said it.
Okay. So how did that, Alicia, what?
This will actually be the first time speaking on it, but it's okay because everyone knows. So
okay.
So, I got pregnant earlier in the year. They pushed back casting. They pushed back for us to start filming. And I'm just too old to have abortion. I'm not going to do that. It was with someone I was just sleeping with. And I said, I'm going to keep my baby, but I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to find love. And that's real. Any
Okay.
man?
Yeah. Yeah. So Alicia, do you guys remember that? Is it just me? Is it just me? Yes, pregnant Alicia was the biggest shocker to me from Ready to Love. Alicia was 5 months pregnant at the resort in Houston. And as she said, she did not want to she did not want to miss a chance to find love. And even though she was pregnant, she felt no remorse. She felt like that was the right thing to do. I don't know how I was so shocked. If you guys saw that reaction, I was just like, I totally had no clue. KC says, I watched this season and I was shocked people didn't know. I mean, it's hard to know because she did wear things that were very a lot of the women were revealing things when they're like, because they're always around water. For some reason, producers always find a way to put the people around water, right? They always, so there's bathing suits so that you can see the bodies, right? But she was very kind of modest in how she dressed. Now we understand why, because she was pregnant. But it's still, I mean, who goes on the show pregnant? One of the funny things that happened, so in that interview, earlier in that interview, she said that Brian, the guy that she was interested in at the time, he ghosted her, and he mentioned that she always had snacks in her room, right? So she said a lot of the guys would come to her room, not to be intimate or anything, but to get her snacks. Well, now we know why she had snacks, because she was pregnant. She was 5 months pregnant and probably hungry as hell, and probably couldn't eat as much as she wanted to during the show because she was she was trying to hide the fact that she was pregnant. So that was my number one moment. I wish they would have went into that on the 100th episode, but that probably wouldn't. You guys probably wouldn't hear that from Own, but you definitely heard that from me. That was my most shocking moment. Also, the first season, and I didn't pull one of these clips because I wanted to do 5. But Alex, the first season of Ready to Love, those seasons were just so dope. Alex ended up sick, and so one of the cast members was in the hospital, like fighting for his life. I believe it was like bird flu. He had some type of brain flu that is like 1 in a million chance of someone getting, but the cast really came together, rallied around him. And the girl that he ended up leaving with, he ended up not staying with her, of course. None of the couples from that season that left together stayed together. But I do know that they were actually really, trying to be in a relationship. I believe that some information came out later that he already was in a relationship. It was just a hot mess. But thankfully, he did get better. Yes, Brenda Ashley was the young lady that he left with. And yeah, he had a whole nother situation, so they did not stay together. But I just want to know what you guys think. What were some of your favorite moments from Ready to Love? I definitely feel like that was a huge shocker, the fact that he would be that sick, and then the cast was all like rallying around him. Yes, he definitely did Ashley wrong, and Ashley talked about it later. There was another woman involved. I think personally, a lot of the guys that come on the show have other situations. If you guys remember the first season in DC, not DC, but the first season in Miami with LJ. LJ had a girl come on that was supposed to be an ex, but they had just slept together like the month before. Like I think that a lot of times people come on the show and they are on some other stuff. So I think that a lot of the guys probably have other people. And actually, there was a young lady from the season in Houston also, that as soon as she was let go, because she mentioned that she had to have a man with money and all this stuff, she was a hairdresser. As soon as she was let go, she was like, I have a boyfriend anyway. So it's people are going to do what they do. Joetta says, what about Katie and Swayze getting back together? We'll see. I wish them well, because I do think they both have very fiery signs. But I just think that relationships shouldn't be that difficult, especially long-term relationships. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult. Like, if you are having that much contention, you got to figure out where that's coming from. So anyway, those were my highlights. Definitely Oh, she's moving in with him next week. That's going to be interesting. Joy and Clifton, now being on Love and Marriage, DC is dope because we get to actually see a relationship in real time. I'm getting ready to get off of here because I just wanted to come and give you guys my 100th episode celebration. Also want to say shouts out to Tommy. That episode, my interview with him is going to run later tonight. But I wanted to say it's so good that he's doing well. We learned that Tommy was actually dealing with cancer during the last season, like 2 seasons ago. And so to know that he's healthy and he's back to himself and doing a great job of hosting the show is great to know. But I thank you guys for rocking out with me. Stay tuned if you watch this channel because I'm coming right back with my girl Brenda, and we are going to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac, that reunion that was on last night. It's going to be a serious conversation. I mean, we're going to do what we do, talk about the tea, but they actually talked about colorism, which has been talked about a lot on, it's been talked about a lot on Ready to Love as well. So I definitely want you guys to tune in. If you have time, go ahead and join us here. We're going to be right back in like 2 minutes, 2 and 2. For someone asked a minute ago where you can buy a copy of my book, Dear Alpha Female. Oh, Miss Pretty Amazing, thank you so much for asking about that. I have it down here in the chat. Get your copy of, you guys, the book is number 3 on Amazon. Thank you so much to everyone that has purchased a copy. It is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and coming to Target. And of course, you can always go to the website, dearalphafemale.com. But it'd be any place you want to get it, you can get it. Like I said, you can order from Barnes & Noble, you can order from Amazon. We are going to start the series, Dear Alpha Female, next week. And so tune in. We're going to be having some real conversations about the book and about dating and finding love and all those amazing things. So thank you so much to all of you guys that have supported. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. And let me know if you're seeing this later, let me know your favorite moments from Ready to Love. You guys know, DC had a whole lot going on with Zadia and Alicia and Cornelius and Camille, who are still together. And I actually think they are doing really well and really cool. So let me know what your favorite moments are from Ready to Love. I definitely feel like Alicia being pregnant was the shocker for me of all shockers. So that is all I have to say about that. And again, happy 100th anniversary, Ready to Love. We look forward to seeing the rest of this season. Stay tuned because the latest cast member to leave will be with me next Monday. So we'll be back on Friday watching, and then of course on Monday talking to whoever, whichever guy goes home. So I will see you guys there. If you're going to stay and tune in for our Real Housewives of Potomac, we are starting at 9:15. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, bye. Thanks.